When I first drove the BMW M340i, I fell in love with the car. I thought it was fast, fun, practical, luxurious and rather well priced. For 2023, BMW has given it a midlife upgrade. But since the changes are largely cosmetic, my opinion of the car has not changed one bit. I still think it's brilliant, and that's the short version of this review. But since I've got the crew up and running this early in the morning and I need to justify my salary, and I don't want to upset BMW and the good folks who took the trouble of sending the car over by giving it just 30 seconds of screen time, I'm going to tell you once again why I love this car so much. My name is Dhruv, you're watching Auto Today, and before I move forward, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon for great automotive content. So let's break it down for you. I said the M340i is fast. How fast? Well, let me demonstrate by launching the car. I'm just going to put it in Sport Plus mode. There we go. Transmission in S. And left foot on the brake. Right foot on the gas. And it's quick. It's very quick. It's 4.4 seconds from the 0 to 100 kmph quick. You will never get tired of launching this car, and just the amount of just that ability to put a smile on your face every time you do that, and the sound from the engine, it just all comes together to make you feel so good about driving a car. It makes you feel good about driving in general. And BMWs are known to serve up thrills in spades, and the M340i is like a shining example of that, because it's just so good, so much fun. And the other thing I want to point out, I did mention the sound. So what's happening with the sound is that it's kind of being channeled into the cabin, amplified when it's fed into the cabin. You can actually turn that off. So what happens is, in comfort and eco mode, it's not as loud, but the moment you turn to Sport Plus, it gets amplified a little. There is a setting in the menu where you can turn it off, so even in sport mode you won't hear as much of it in the cabin. I don't know, for me, I like hearing it. I like hearing the sound from the straight six. I love that. But in case you don't want to hear it, you can always turn it off. Not completely, of course. I mean, there is some noise I'm just going to make, but yeah, you can tone it down and maybe focus more on your music or whatever else that you want to focus on. BMW has carried forward the turbocharged 3-litre inline 6-cylinder petrol motor, but maximum power output has dropped from 387 bhp to 374 bhp, although peak torque remains the same at 500 Nm. New for 2023 is the introduction of a 48-volt mild hybrid setup that can add an 11 bhp boost to assist with acceleration. Speaking of which, the claimed 0 to 100 kmph time of 4.4 seconds remains unchanged. And to put that into perspective, that's just 0.3 seconds slower than the smaller and significantly more powerful BMW M2. There aren't any discernible changes in the way the BMW M340i handles or drives in general. The only thing that has changed though is, because of the tire size going up from 18 to 19 inches, the ride quality is slightly harsher. Like the model it replaces, India does not get the option of adaptive damping, so there's just one standard suspension setting. The M340i is a lot of fun to drive, as I've probably already said multiple times in this video. You say corner, it says how hard. For us average Joes, our skills probably run out much before the car's dynamic capabilities do, and that's saying something. Unless you're about to take it to a track or for a proper track day, it's highly unlikely you'll ever reach a point where you find the car lacking in the dynamics department. There's all-wheel drive, the BMW X Drive. The badge is somehow missing with this iteration, but anyway, it's still very much there. So you get power distribution to all 4 wheels. It's all a very intelligent system, does it brilliantly. Right amount of power to the right wheel at all times, and there's just so much grip through corners. You can take it around bends really aggressively and it won't disappoint you. And because it's based on a regular 3 Series, so now in India we get the long wheelbase version only. So in terms of practicality, in that sense, the space is not that great, but It is still based on a standard wheelbase 3 Series, which in itself is a pretty good car in terms of practicality. You have 4 doors, there's space for 4 people, ample space for 4 people, and there's a 480-litre boot with a space saver tucked neatly inside. So all of the practicality is there, all of the performance is there, and it feels properly luxurious inside. The seat upholstery, it's obviously the materials are of very high quality, and just the way it's all been done up, the part Alcantara, part leather seats, the blue stitching, the carbon fiber trim on the dashboard, it feels like, you know, you're getting what you're paying for. And again, like the M340i does, it does not disappoint in this department either. That's why I keep repeating, it's the complete package. It's that one car that does it all for me. But before I wrap up this review, I really need to show you what exactly is new with this iteration of the M340i. So let's take a look at the interiors and the exteriors and show you what exactly has changed and what are the new additions that have been made to the M340i. The front end gets the same treatment as the updated 3 Series, so you get these new headlamps with these inverted LDRLs and full LED lighting, of course. The grille is identical to the 3 Series again, but the pattern is slightly different to set it apart. Besides that, there is nothing really that has changed when it comes to the front end of the M340i. Also new are these alloys, which get this very cool self-leveling BMW logo, blue brake calipers. These mirrors are new as well, very similar to the ones you get on the M3 and M4. Towards the rear, nothing much has changed. The tail lamps remain the same, just that the bumper has been reprofiled slightly. And that's about it as far as the changes to the exteriors of the M340i are concerned. The update brings with it BMW's curved display that houses a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and a 14.9-inch infotainment touchscreen with the latest version of BMW's iDrive and wireless support for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As before, there's still a rotary dial along with physical buttons to access the screen's functions, but the stick-type gear selector next to it has been replaced with a new toggle lever. I'm not a fan of that or the aircon controls that have moved to the touchscreen, but the dashboard overall does look much nicer than before, uplifting the overall feel of the cabin. It has pretty much everything you would want in a car at this price point in terms of features, including a 3-zone climate control, electrically adjustable front seats with driver-side memory function, a sunroof, a 16-speaker Harman Kardon audio setup, and a whole lot more. BMW's M division has waved its magic wand over all aspects of the car, including the suspension. There's the M Sport differential, and what all of that means is that the driving experience is just sublime. There is just so much so much fun to be had while driving this car. It puts a smile on your face every single time you get behind the wheel. It's the sort of car that can make mundane commutes, day to day, home to office to home commutes, a lot more enjoyable than they will be in any other car. And that for me is the highlight of the M340i, just the sort of excitement it affords at this price point. And speaking of the price, at 69 lakhs, it seems like a high asking price for what is essentially a 3 Series, but when you factor in the performance, the numbers, I'm not just saying this is not a subjective opinion, I can back it up with numbers. If you do a full ratio, price to power ratio, you'll find that the M340i is pretty much unbeatable. This kind of power you have to pay a lot more to get. It has a rival in the form of the Audi S5 Sportback, but that's not as powerful, and I don't know, somehow the BMW is just that much more fun to drive.